Hey, Al fans, an absolutely mind-boggling 11 below in the woods of New Jersey. The Al report goes on. I reluctantly wear this orange hood. I'm trying to put my freaking glove on because we had a good week. We don't go by the game. And even though we were 3-1, I have to use a quote from Godfather 3. I've seen Godfather 1 and 2 95 times, but I'm going to use a line from Godfather 3 when Joey Zaza was in the room with Pacino and he goes, "I have a stone in my shoe." There's something bothering me about the Isles. There is something bothering me. So I want to launch into this week's broadcast, which will be the rest of the schedule and my third favorite date of the year, the trade deadline. First of all, a personal thanks to Tom and Coley Green for allowing me to sit with my wife on a post-Valentine's Day date tomorrow in a huge game against Detroit. If I recall correctly, Jennifer in 3, I'm in 4. And I might also have the opportunity to see the great Fred Kleiner, who no one has met, and he'll be at the game, so I'll be there. Now, let's talk business. The stone in my shoe. Two things I want to talk about, the schedule and the trade deadline. Here's what's got me concerned that the Owls may not make the playoffs, may not. We have a really good record at home in Brooklyn. We're about 10 games over at home, but we're 500 on the road. So most people would say, yeah, but that's what the Yankees did when they were great. They would go like 640 at home and play like 515 baseball on the road. That makes sense, right? Except 2/3 of our games are on the road. I am really worried we're going to spit the bit. 2/3 of our games. And if you look at our calendar, next week, the game I'm going to against Detroit, and believe me, we owe them. They put the freaking bags on me and Williams' head, and they humiliated us. And I'm going to that game tomorrow. And then we play the Caps on Thursday. That could easily be a loss. And then you will know where the Isles stand. We start a 7-game trip. Now, I complained last year, and I hate to use excuses, but isn't it funny that William told me in the beginning of the year, he goes, you know, Dad, more than 3 games in a row at home, but we're heavily loaded up front with home games. So what was happening is we'd have 3 at home, 1 away, 2 at home, 1 away, 3 at home, 2 away. And then we get hit with a 7-game trip. After the Cap game, we play a hungry Devil team in the great state of New Jersey to open up the first game of a 7-game trip. And then we go to Western Canada, winnable games, but they're on the road where we're 500, and it ends in Broadway. It ends in Broadway. The end of a 7-game trip. I'm worried. Pitt's a point behind. We gave up our game in hand. The Devils are tied. We gave up our 3 games in hand. We're down to 2. Which leads me to my third favorite behind Christmas and Thanksgiving, the NHL trade deadline. Now, I've been on record, and I'm fluctuating back and forth, that Snow needs to make a blockbuster. I've been on the Uncensored. I've been saying this since November, that it was going to be a Poso and Hammer. And I stayed with that, but I wavered this week. I read from 3 writers, and I think Staple was even quoted, and saying Snow is not going to unload 2 guys, Hammer and a Poso, if he thinks he's going to make the playoffs and ruin our chances. And I say to myself, okay, I can understand Hammer, but if a Poso is going to leave, and you know you're not going to give him $6 million, just to give the fans maybe a first round, I'm a businessman. I'm saying to myself, I'm going to lose a Poso, gamble that he's going to go to Minnesota and get nothing? That's not good business. Just to give our fans 4 games at home, maybe not even 4, 3. You have to consider you thinking to sign a Poso and make that move. And I threw in an interesting thing yesterday. So I guess what I'm saying is I think we're going to do nothing. I really believe that. But General Patelis, I'm thinking of my son. He's going to be a general one day. General Manager Patelis is saying, how about if we package Halak? Now, I know people are going to say he's great against the Rangers and the Caps. But listen, Montreal needs a goaltender. And it's very intriguing. Do you know the Isles are the only team with 3 goaltenders? Why is Berube up? We can't put him down. No team has 3 goaltenders. Something's up. Something is up. And what I'm really worried about, by the way, it's freaking cold. Holy shit. Anyway, my fingers are frozen with gloves that Neil Armstrong wore. What I'm really worried about, in fact, I might have to move in a little inside, I'm sorry. Holy mackerel. What I'm really worried about is that, like last year, I sit by my computer while I work home. Think I'm kidding? The frozen tundra. Anyway, and last year, I'd see LA Kings, Boston Bruins, New York Rangers. Yes, the Rangers. Vancouver, Calgary, Detroit, Pittsburgh, the Rangers again. New York Islanders, Tyler Kennedy. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to make a depth move for Tyler Kennedy? Is that what we're going to do? We need a freaking blockbuster. Have to have a blockbuster. Otherwise, it's one and done. And I'll leave you with this. If Snow called me right now and told me, I got this, Barzal or Dal Cole will make the squad next year, then I'm willing to just let Oposo go. Because at that point, you're going to save $6 million and you're going to have an ELC, an entry-level contract with either one of those kids. Then you ride with Oposo. I agree with that. But all the writers are saying that Ho-Sang, Barzal, Dal Cole, and Bouleville are not ready to the 17-18 year. So you just tell me, as a franchise, how do we get better without Oposo next year? And you're not going to replace those 26 goals. You tell me, just tell me. And if you have an answer, that'll be great. So I say we got to package Oposo. And if you want to make it huge, throw in Halak and Hammer. Okay? And then there's the blockbuster. And I'll leave you with this. Many, many years ago, I didn't have the internet. I was a season ticket holder at the barn. And I read the paper. And it said, Isles trade fan favorite, Dave Lewis, and their first captain, Billy Harris. I go, what? Yeah, for some bald little guy named Butch Goring. And they bring up this gangly guy, Kenny Morrow. I go, that's bullshit. That's a terrible deal. 5 years later, the dynasty. You never know. Torrey pulled the blockbuster. We had no idea. I know we had 5, 9, 19, 22, 23, 31. That's not the issue. We were in 5th place and stumbling. A blockbuster can be done. It can be done because the fans, most of you guys aren't alive, were outraged that got rid of Billy Harris, who was like the sweetheart of the females, good-looking guy, first pick overall. Lewis was a steady defenseman. And you get this scrubby, bald guy with a World War I helmet in Goring. Totally changed the franchise around. So with that in mind, until next week, where we have an incredibly tough week, tomorrow, the Wings, who we owe, they put the freaking mask on my head. The Caps on Thursday, which I'm not so positive about. And then the Devils, who are going to be hungry as shit on Friday. With that in mind, Let's go out to next Sunday, and thank you, Tom and Coley.